The Bears in Arlington Heights are getting ready to get started on building a new stadium.
The team's president and CEO, Kevin Warren, just released an open letter regarding a new stadium in Arlington Heights.
Chicago mornings have a calm to them. The smell of coffee mixing with the distant traffic, the sun rising behind the skyline, the city waking up. But lately, that calm feels like the quiet before a storm. Because beneath the surface, something big is bubbling. Something that has fans, officials, and everyday people talking nonstop. The Chicago Bears stadium situation. It's not just about a new building. It's about identity, tradition, cost, community trust, and whether the team that defined the city for decades will stay or leave forever. It starts with a rumor, whispered at tailgate parties, discussed in locker rooms, argued over in living rooms. Are the Bears really going to leave Soldier Field? Is Arlington Heights the new home? Is downtown Chicago being abandoned? Fans scroll through social media, seeing renderings, financial reports, government memos. Every leak feels like a puzzle piece with edges already painted.
To be able to find 326 acres that close to a wonderful city is difficult to do. I don't know if it exists anywhere in the country.
As proposals emerge, the stakes feel bigger than football. This is the city's soul on the line. For decades, Soldier Field has been sacred ground for Bears fans. The cold wind, the echoes of cheer after a touchdown, the smell of popcorn, the roar of the crowd as the final seconds tick down. It all feels like history itself. Memories of the '86 Super Bowl run, of bear paw prints, of legendary names like Ditka and Peyton. To many, Soldier Field isn't just a stadium. It's part of what makes them who they are. So when talks of a move surfaced, a collective gasp rippled through the city. On one side, there are those who say modern needs demand modern solutions. They point to infrastructure problems, aging seating, limited parking, lack of parking revenue, concessions that don't compare, and logistical headaches. They say the Bears deserve a stadium that matches their legacy, with premium amenities, with broader access, with visibility that matches Chicago's stature. Those voices argue that investment in a new stadium could bring jobs, spur area development, and bring fans closer to modern comforts. On the other side are die-hard purists whose hearts ache at the thought of Soldier Field being emptied. They see the history, the tradition, the symbolism. They feel a deep connection to the place. Children who saw their first game there, parents whose fathers took them, friends huddled against cold weather and snow. They believe a city's identity isn't measured by luxury suites or giant video boards, but by memories lived there. They suspect that moving may prioritize profit over community loyalty. Amid this tension, the Bears organization has remained cautious. Public statements speak of evaluating options, looking at funding, studying feasibility. They describe the complexity: zoning, public financing, transportation access, tax incentives, political hurdles. Every proposed site seems to come with trade-offs. Better traffic flow but less history. More space but fewer fans nearby. Higher cost but greater long-term revenue potential. One proposed location, Arlington Heights, offers land, potential for a large development, more parking, and perhaps modern amenities that Soldier Field cannot provide. It comes with promises of modern infrastructure, luxury boxes, easier access for suburban fans, and potential tax breaks. But Arlington Heights also brings concerns. Will downtown fans feel betrayed? What about access via public transit? Long for many Bears devotees. What is the cost to taxpayers? And how much will public subsidies factor into the plan? Another contender is renovation of Soldier Field itself. That option appeals to tradition. Architects and preservationists point out it's a landmark of national historic status. Renovation could mean preserving its iconic columns, preserving its skyline silhouette. But the cost of bringing an old stadium into modern compliance is steep. Structural reinforcement, seating expansion, modern amenities, running utilities, upgrading concessions and restrooms, all without losing the architectural charm. Meanwhile, City Hall is watching. Developers are circling. Media outlets are publishing renderings. Social media is a battlefield. Fans tweet about lost heritage. Suburban supporters talk about legroom, parking, and ease of access. Elected officials weigh constituent feedback, budget concerns, and political risk. Every statement seems calculated. Supporters want the stadium to stay. Opponents want whatever brings in job growth. Last week, a leaked memo made waves. It outlined financial estimates, multi-hundred-million-dollar costs for both renovation and new construction, projections of revenue from naming rights, from mixed-use real estate developments around new sites, anticipation of increased tax revenue if surrounding development follows. That memo also predicted resistance from preservation groups, backlash from core fans, and skepticism from taxpayers wary of public subsidies. The content of that leak magnified the debate overnight, turning whispers into hammers. In neighborhoods near the current stadium, longtime residents, many of whom walk, take public transport, have grown up surrounding the stadium, feel an emotional tug. They say their connection is more than just nostalgia. They fear a move could hollow out business that served fans before and after games, restaurants, bars, street vendors. They wonder, will those who depend on foot traffic lose out? Will the new stadium model prioritize corporate box holders over everyday fans? During one fan rally downtown, hundreds gathered on Michigan Avenue in bitter October wind. They carried signs, "Save Soldier Field," "This is our history," "Bears belong in Chicago." Speakers spoke of stormy historical games, of seasons watched through generations, of tickets purchased decades ago. Many families treat their season tickets like heirlooms. Tears were shed at stories recalling veterans who sat in the stands. Then came chants, loyalty, identity, belonging. In response, city officials and the Bears organization issued statements promising outreach. Community forums scheduled. The team offered to explore ways to retain Soldier Field features, possibilities for hybrid models. Could part of the stadium be retained while new structures are built around it? Could Satellite Stadium use mitigate accessibility? These suggestions complicate the narrative, but give room for hope. Still, the financial numbers loom large. Projects of this scale rarely stay on budget. Public funding often underestimates ongoing maintenance, underestimates future transit costs. Often what seems like civic pride becomes debt burden. Taxpayer obligations are transparent in reports. Who pays for infrastructure? Who pays for roads, for utilities, for new parking, for transit access? Bonds might be issued, subsidies applied, but every dollar counts. As letters to local newspapers pour in, some suburban residents who rarely attended games express mild support. They speak of tailgating ease, children's safety, family parking. For them, modern stadium amenities matter. But at the same time, many others express fear that moving will deepen divides. City versus suburb, old versus new, rich versus regular fans. Those who grew up walking blocks to games feel cut off. One veteran Bears fan, who has season tickets since the 90s, said in an interview with a local radio station, "I just want to walk to the game, have my ribs warmed by the sun, see the skyline behind the field. If they leave, Chicago loses more than a field. We lose part of who we are." Another younger fan, one who attends games for the atmosphere. Tailgate fan cams said, "I want comfort, amenities, parking, good food. But I also want my kids to know why people used to sit in 30-degree wind and still cheer. I want something more than just luxury." The debate also touches ceiling deals for mixed-use developments around the new stadium site. Housing, shops, entertainment, hotels. Real estate developers sketch grand plans. Tax increment financing is floated. City officials consult environmental impact studies. Infrastructure demands are real. Roads rebuilt, transit lines extended, parking garages built. These are not cheap or quick. Inside the Bears organization, sources say tension is high. Executives, coaches, even staff are split. Some see the new stadium as a legacy project, something that could elevate Chicago's national presence. Others fear losing the identity and embracing the commercial aspects too much. Internally, conversations around preserving tradition, Bear paw prints, old statues, Hall of Fame elements, are being weighed heavily. Then there's the political risk. Elected officials who support the move could gain favor with developers and new voters. But they risk alienating the core base, those who grew up with Chicago wintry games, whose families braved harsh weather, whose loyalty formed in old stands without luxury. Opponents argue those politicians must prove transparency, cost-benefit, and respect for citizens who will pay taxes or suffer transit changes. Some preservationists are organizing legal resistance. Historical preservation groups are considering designation statuses to protect parts of Soldier Field. They argue the stadium is architectural heritage, a marker of Chicago's sporting culture. They plan lawsuits if demolition of key structures is proposed. Meanwhile, journalists are excited. They write about the cultural loss, about what it means when teams move. They write about NFL economics, revenue sharing, naming rights, media rights, fan loyalty. They quote experts in architecture, civic planning, urban economics. Readers comment in forums. Do you want the Bears or do you want history? It's becoming not simply a stadium issue. It's a societal question. The financial angle gets murkier when private investors enter. Offers are made, negotiations are reportedly underway. Some propose public-private partnerships, where corporations finance parts of stadium in exchange for premium access, naming rights,